Yes, well, the last video I remember of the national leader, the new national leader, he couldn't find a door out of where he was, which was a pretty Biden-esque moment, if you ask me. But it just shows you how the Nationals can't seem to find their conservative roots anymore, but their voters haven't changed. Their voters haven't gone to the left, which is why everyone's throwing their hands up and asking themselves what happened to Australian politics. Now, I look at the Liberals and the Nationals, and I don't see the coalition of my childhood. And, I wasn't a child that long ago, so this shift has happened pretty quickly. And I certainly don't see any blue ribbons hanging off the Liberals anymore. Indeed, some of the worst policies around, such as digital ID and the current censorship policy, were creations of the Morrison government. Now, is there any reason why they are leading the charge toward Orwell's nightmare?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I mean, I shook my head at a lot of these proposals. The digital identity agenda, this misinformation and disinformation law was proposed by Paul Fletcher in the dying days of the Morrison government. But I got to say, you always look on the side of hope. Peter Dutton is a very, very switched on Liberal. He is someone who gets it. Now, I think to a degree he's got his hands tied by the moderates, or the so-called moderates within the Liberal Party. But if there's someone who could butt through this sort of logjam that's just happened inside the Liberal Party, it probably is Peter Dutton. And I put my faith in other people like Andrew Hastie as well, who, will punch through this if they get the chance. So look out for those guys. There's always hope.
Well, I was reading some of your work before this interview, and I noticed that faith is still a part of your writing and a part of your political values. How hard is it to be a person of faith inside Australia's modern political system? Because there was a time when both Labor and Liberal were staunchly religious, and especially the Labor Party with their Catholicism. But you and several other prominent Christians have had difficulty with the rise of woke, and I find this interesting because secularism doesn't have an issue with religion, but this wokeism does, and all of its subgenres, which are actually Marxist in origin, and certainly they are anti-Christian. Is this hostility because wokeism is actually a competing ideology that wants to control people's hearts and minds?
Competing religion, actually. So yeah, you're right. You've hit the nail on the head there. It has become difficult to be a person of faith, particularly a Christian, a traditional Christian in Canberra or in politics in general, in parliamentary politics. And the reason is, one, as you say, there's this challenger that's arisen in the spiritual realm, and it's called wokeism, the Church of Wokery. But also the whole paradigm now is shut up about things that are part of you, on what a family should look like. If you have a view on same-sex marriage or any of the LGBTIQ issues, you're not to say them if it's related to your faith. It's just one area where you can't say it or you get cancelled. And, we've seen that time and again. So I think that this has now become a big problem. You can express parts of your Christian faith that adhere to the zeitgeist, that adhere to wokery. For instance, if you're all for, helping the environment because it's God's creation, or if you're, look out for the stranger, so you want to welcome refugees into the nation. Well, they're views that are approved by the Church of Wokery, Christian views that are approved. But anything that relates to abortion, gay issues, anything that's sort of considered traditional Christian social teachings is just verboten.